Hello, everyone. I'm Blayne Gilmer. Welcome to Southeastern 14. We are going to be talking Texas A&M football today, and we're going to be talking about why Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino on offense, reasons that it will work in College Station and reasons that it wouldn't work at College Station. So a lot of speculation. There was the initial, oh, what just happened when Jimbo Fisher hired Bobby Petrino? Is this a good thing? Where has he been? The off the field stuff, all that. But then as people went and studied what Bobby Petrino has done on the field as a offensive mind with all the different stops he's had, whether it's been Auburn, whether it's been Louisville a couple of times, whether it's been Arkansas, Bobby Petrino has had success everywhere he's gone on the offensive side. And we're going to dive into that here today and tell you some reasons that, hey, this is going to be a great thing. Many describe it even as a home run hire for Texas A&M. Now, Jimbo Fisher caused a little stir at SEC Media Days, admittedly, when he kind of hemmed and hawed with his answers about Bobby Petrino on the big stage there in Nashville. But overall, we're just going to dive into this and parse out, okay, here's why this will be a great success, and here's why it would be a great failure. So we're going to see the difference between those two today. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications as we talk all things SEC football here. Myself, Chris Lee, Blake Lovell, going to have you covered all season long with game previews, with reactions to games, with everything, breaking news, everything you want to know about SEC football. It's all here. So let's dive into this Texas A&M situation. The first reason that this will work in College Station is because Bobby Petrino is that good of an offensive play caller. He is a multiple pro style offense. It's not going to be that much of a huge schematic change, okay, because Jimbo Fisher's scheme not necessarily broken in terms of what happens after the snap. The problem at Texas A&M was everybody knew, okay, Texas A&M is going to line up this way, and then here's what they're going to run. There wasn't that much creativity when it comes to it in terms of pre-snap, changing things up, lack of motions, all that kind of stuff. Bobby Petrino is going to bring a little bit more eye candy before the snap, but also when you go and study Bobby Petrino's offense, it's not that they're, just in gun, airing it out every play. There's a lot of under center and play action and things like that. But when you go and study the routes and the concepts and things like that, everything has a mindset of I'm going to attack deep and then I'm going to alternate off of that based on if the defense takes it away from me. There's a lot of option routes that can occur at 5 yards, 10 yards, or even deeper. Think 2019 LSU with those receivers having the mindset of going deep, going deep, going deep. I'm going to break this off and I'm going to turn it into a bench route on the outside, or I'm going to turn it into a dig route, or I'm going to hook curl right here and set in a zone when I know it's not man coverage anymore. But the receivers that Bobby Petrino has to run that system in Evan Stewart, okay, in Moose Muhammad, in Noah Thomas, and Anais Smith, all have another year of experience and a full offseason, a full complement of working together with Connor Wegman to show that, hey, they can be productive. Connor Wegman came in and did not turn the ball over once he became the starter for Texas A&M last year. And I think the athleticism of Connor Wegman, when you look at different quarterbacks that Bobby Petrino has had and the ones that he's had the most success with, the ones that have had some mobility and been able to have some athleticism about them, okay, Bobby Petrino, go look at Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying Connor Wegman is that kind of that kind of runner, but he is very, very athletic. When you talk about a guy who was a shortstop in baseball, a guy that could have been drafted very high if he'd end up pursuing baseball, that's going to give, and we saw it in the spring, Bobby Petrino, okay, is willing to run Connor Wegman, and he's willing to do some of that power spread type stuff, some power read, different things of that nature mixed in with the pro style system. Okay. And I think having those weapons on the outside that Bobby Petrino will have in Moose Muhammad, in Noah Thomas, in Evan Stewart, it's going to put the defenses in a real predicament because, okay, are we going to be more focused on these option routes and the RPOs that are going to be coming with the running game and these quick option routes and even the deeper option routes over on the outside by Texas A&M? Or now you add in the element of, hey, Connor Wegman can use his legs to try to beat you and even be a threat to pull the ball on some of these zone looks and these power football looks, some power read type stuff that we saw in the spring. Who knows? They're just putting that on film. But if you add that element, with what we haven't even mentioned is maybe behind Georgia, the best tight end room in the SEC. You have Donovan Green, Max Wright, and Jake Johnson, who are all in their own right are tremendously athletic, tremendously highly coveted tight ends that now have more experience. Donovan Green, a sophomore now. Evan Stewart, a sophomore now. Noah Thomas, a sophomore now. And Moose Muhammad, another year older. Anaya Smith coming back. That is a tremendous weapon. So all of that mixed together are the reasons why Bobby Petrino, you look at his track record, you look at the mindset and the scheme of those short, medium, and longer option routes that can turn into a skinny post, a seam. They can turn into more intermediate routes. Connor Wegman being able to have that arsenal at his behest there, and then also be freed up to use his legs a little bit more. We've already seen how talented he is. Now that athleticism is going to be on display, and he's going to have those receivers with that attack mindset, like I said, that are thinking every play, hey, I'm going to be going deep unless they do this. Okay. I think it's just a different thing. I think you're going to see more pre-snap motion. I think you're going to see more eye candy, maybe some varied tempos there by Bobby Petrino. And I think you're going to see a lot of success on the offensive side of what had become stale for Texas A&M. And just not that Jimbo Fisher had a bad scheme, but Jimbo Fisher also is a head coach. And when you're a head coach, you're sitting in that room game planning and you're doing things like that. And then all of a sudden somebody comes and says, hey, coach, you got to come take care of this, that we got this booster over here, or we got this meeting over here you have to go to, or we got to take care of this. Here's this phone call that you have to address. Plus you mix in recruiting and things like that. Now Bobby Petrino, he's been in that seat. He's done that. He is able to focus on nothing but football after being a head coach for a long time. He doesn't have to deal with all the political stuff. He has to deal with recruiting, but he's really just more so recruiting the guys that, hey, Texas A&M really, really wants. He can delegate that more to some assistant coaches and things like that. Bobby Petrino brings a guy that Jimbo Fisher trusts and respects because they are so similar. Back when they were in the ACC, they used to look for each other's film to watch and get a look of, hey, how's the defense going to attack? Because there was some similarities in their offenses that they ran. Jimbo Fisher said that at SEC Media Days. So those are all the reasons why it would work for Texas A&M. The reasons why it wouldn't work for Texas A&M with the Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino dynamic is exactly what happened at SEC Media Days. People asked about Bobby Petrino. They asked how the dynamic's going to work. They asked about Petrino being the play caller, and Jimbo Fisher could not come out and just say, yeah, Petrino's going to call the plays. He's going to do a great job. I'm going to trust. He kind of hemmed and hawed around. Oh, well, I hope he's going to end up calling most of the plays. Nick Saban, somebody else calls the defense, but is he really involved in the defense? Same thing with Kirby, all this kind of stuff. It's almost like his ego, the pride of being a offensive guru in his own right and things of that nature, as people call it, couldn't allow him just to say, hey, Bobby Petrino is going to take this off my plate. I'm going to focus on these different elements with all the things going on in college football with NIL, with the transfer portal, with all kinds of, different legislation being passed, with new teams coming into the SEC, all this kind of stuff that head coaches have to be a part of and have to navigate their program through. There's just not enough time. You see more and more coaches that were play callers on the offensive and defensive side delegating those duties because it's just too difficult to take on. Jimbo Fisher could have ended all that buzz with just saying, yep, Bobby Petrino is our offensive coordinator and he is going to do the job, but he did not. So now that question has to linger. His players now have to answer more of that when they're in interviews. Texas A&M has a lot of player media interaction with, stuff they do with NIL, stuff they do with Tex Ags over there, all that kind of stuff. So now that question is going to be asked more, and it could have just been put to bed. Whether Petrino's calling every play or whether he's not, Jimbo could have made perception a reality, okay, by just going out there and telling the media what basically all the Texas A&M fans wanted to hear. Hey, Petrino's going to have his way and he's going to get it done. If that ego starts to creep up, if there is that power struggle, as he liked to joke around and say, oh yeah, we've already had 3 wrestling matches and 2 boxing matches. He's trying to make light, say, hey, they get along great and things like that. But how are you going to get along when it's that first key third down in the Miami game this year? You're on the road and you're having to decide, okay, what are we going to run here? Or if it's a 2-point conversion that you need late in the game and you're disagreeing on, do we want to get Connor Wigman out on the edge and get him on the move, or do we like this throwback play to a tight end, maybe slip Donovan Green out the backside when we're rolling out the other way, all this kind of stuff. How is that going to go down? Because if there's any dissension, if there's any spur of the moment, well, I've always called this, I'm going to step in and I'm going to call this here. And there's not one clear voice. If Connor Wigman starts to hear multiple voices in his head after he has had this offseason of being able to really sustain himself as a leader and get a greater rapport with the receivers and things like that, and then here being coached this way, and then all of a sudden there's a deviation from that, there can be problems. Okay. So as long as everybody can act like adults in the room and the roles are clearly defined and people stick with those roles and people are able to trust each other to do their job, then everything should be fine. When that goes awry, okay, that is one reason it wouldn't work. Another reason it wouldn't work is got to stay healthy. Okay, got to stay healthy. Evan Stewart is special. Okay, he's a special receiver. He's as good of a in my opinion, a wide receiver one as you'll find out there. He's tremendously talented. Anais Smith is a guy who is immensely talented. They need those 2 playmakers really to stay healthy, and the emergence at running back. Okay, it's all well and good to be able to sling it, but Bobby Petrino is a balanced offensive guy. And in fact, most of the time you go back and look at his run pass splits, he's a guy who runs the football more than he passes it. He needs somebody, one of those young backs, okay, whether it's Amari Daniels. I say young because he hasn't been the guy yet. I know he's going to be a junior. Amari Daniels, Le'Veon Moss, Reuben Owens, the freshman, who is going to step up and really be the guy that can be trusted in those when you need a 3rd and 2. when it's a 4th and 1 to goal. How are they going to handle that? And then honestly, with the size and athleticism of Connor Wigman, he may end up being that guy. His own number may be called at certain points, but figuring out who the go-to guy in the running game is going to be another thing. If they don't get the production they feel like they're at the running back position that maybe they should, a lack of balance could be a problem there. That would be another reason it wouldn't work. But Bobby Petrino has shown time and time again that he will create a balanced offense. If Jimbo Fisher will allow him to do that, then they will be successful. If there's any kind of dissension in the ranks, any kind of ego struggle, things like that, then it's not going to work. But for Southeastern 14, I am Blayne Gilmer. We hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of Texas A&M's offense and the dynamic between Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll catch you right here on Southeastern 14 all fall as we go through with our live streams, our game previews. We've got individual team news breakdown videos. Everything that you could imagine is right here on Southeastern 14. Like I said, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll catch you next time here on Southeastern 14.